Around the EcomiVerse. Get pumped up. Get excited. Here we go.
Yo, 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 welcome to Around the EcomiVerse, episode 81. We got your boys, Crypto Rain, Patient Hodler, Dr. Stuff, and we got Will here, but it says Queen VeVe. What's happening, everybody?
Not much. Chilling.
How are you guys? How are you guys going? Woo!
Good.
Just say special thanks to Patient Hodler for coming on because it is midnight his time. So thanks, Patient Hodler.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've had you on here. What's been happening in your world?
Oh man, I don't know. It's a couple of months already, right? That I've been here last time. So everything's all right. Waiting for the bull run or the second part of the bull run.
Me too. What do you guys make of Joe Biden disappearing? It's been the talk of all over X and all over.
You could see his slow decline over the last 5 years. Anyone who's really paying attention, you could see like he was just becoming less, like more incapable. So it really isn't that big of a surprise for me.
Yeah, tomorrow he will be back. He will have forgotten that he dropped out.
Yeah, there was so many comments like he's gonna be so pissed when he realizes he dropped out. Oh gosh. I know where he is, and I'll show you guys a video later, but I want to wait till we're probably got enough people watching. You guys ready for a little bit of a fun video?
Sure.
A little bit lighten the mood, a little bit of fun. All right, I'll chuck it on. Here we go.
He is the one. So now you guys know what happened to Joe Biden.
Joe Biden was, moving quite well there. I was very impressed by his movement.
Yeah, until Trump turned him to a bunch of different pieces of green slop.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Did you see Trump's golden boots there?
That's what I was dying about, the gold boots.
Yeah.
Some golden
Seriously funny.
He's out there like that.
AI now is just so funny. Like it was so much fun.
Well, think about where it is versus where it will be. Like deep fakes are going to be a real problem in the future. You can see how good the technology is getting. Like clearly you could tell that was all AI generated, like with the original movie and then kind of overlapping it. But what about when you can't tell? That will be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be like you can't trust anything you see, and you're gonna have to like verify. Like everyone's gonna need ticks on everything. Everything's going to be verified to know that it's real. It's a bit funny. Who's going to San Diego? Anybody here? Anyone in the panel? There we
Oh
go.
yeah.
Doc and Rain. That's awesome. Very exciting.
It's
I'm
just
so
a short
pumped.
flight from Australia and New Zealand. Like, come on over the pond.
Yeah, man.
How far is it?
I have
That's
no
just like 16 hours.
So I'd probably spend more time on the plane than I would there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I love that Obama and Zach were the other agents. That's like
that
the
was
funniest thing
that
ever.
was super funny.
That was
right?
so good. It was so good.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to put that video up, but it's all right. We already had 50, 60 people watching. Now we're at over 85, so it's moving up. And yeah, it's who's excited for the market? Like it looks like it's going to be ripping soon.
I think it is gearing up for that. That's exciting. Crypto, even during a greater bull run, like it gets kind of boring, right? So this early bull run, like we had Bitcoin go from 14,000 to 74,000. That was really exciting. And then it pulls back and it just feels boring again. And crypto, like it can get boring because you feel like you're just waiting for things to happen. But I think it's going to heat up again pretty soon.
Yeah, and who went for the what's it, Exomorph drop yesterday? Did you guys go for that? Did you guys see it? The aliens drop? It looked pretty sick.
I wanted it, but it was way too much.
Yeah, $50. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
a little bit
just.
much
I
for
mean, it's a premium collectible, and I've been balancing that like in my head, right? Like when you look at some of the statues, like the physicals and things that are out there, and how much those can go for, right? Some of those resin statues are like $200, $300, $400, and they're super nice. I mean, and this is a really nice piece at $50, but like I'm also looking, and the difference between physical and digital is we kind of have like this immediate feedback from the market as to what people think the price should be, you know, and a lot of people are just like right now in this market, $50, even though it's super premium, it looks really nice. People just aren't willing to pay that, you know, with the amount of mints and no chaser. And I don't know if you guys saw Comics and Crypto talk to My Collectibles today. They did a live stream, and My Collectibles was like, look, like we're trying to pick and choose which ones we do chasers for. Because if we did chasers for all of them, then it's like it's tough to collect because then everyone wants like that secret rare, and it just gets so pricey that they've got to balance that out. So I mean, I do like the decision that this didn't have a chaser, and I think that they recognize that. Will this maybe sell out like initially? Probably not. But they're trying to balance that between which ones have the chasers and not. Now we got this, you know, brown suit Wolverine that's coming up that does have that low mint secret rare chaser, right? I think if I had to choose, I would way rather have that Wolverine than the Exomorph. So
I was that's my next question. Doc was going to be, are you getting excited for the Wolverines that are dropping?
yes. So I went ham on the 180 and 181, right? Like I am a big Wolverine fan. And so I maxed out purchases on the comics on both of them. I was so grateful that they kind of had like a higher number so that people and like a higher price point, and people were like, like I'm not going for it. And I just freaking went ham and got like the secret rares on both of them, plus just like a ton of other rarities and things. So I'm going to be slowly picking up some more Wolverines and definitely going for this brown suit Wolverine, which is the suit that he wore for like most of my childhood growing up, right? Like that brown suit Wolverine was like 15 years that he was wearing that in all the comics and things. So
yeah, I remember him being like
brown
that. That's like
Wolverine.
the classic Wolverine.
The problem with the Xenomorph drop is one for collectors, actually. So there are only 400 editions that sold. And I know someone who put together a list of mints that they want to get. But because no one or so few people minted, these mints never got minted. And you cannot expect the person to burn through like, I don't know, 50,000 to just try to get these mints. So now it's sitting there. and almost no one is minting that, and probably these mints are not going to hit the market very soon. So that's a little bit of a bummer for collectors.
Yeah. Apparently there's only 150 secret rare brown suit Wolverines. That's a good number.
But VeVe's going to keep some of those too, right? And I didn't look at the actual number, so it's probably going to be more around like 130 or something like that. 135.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I was going to say we saw a comment earlier by Bill Garner in the house. He would have done $30 all day instead of $50 for the Xenomorph, and I think that's more reasonable, right? $30, and if they have the price lower, they'll actually sell more and make more money rather than the drop just sitting there at a higher price.
I viewed it as like a stormtrooper. Like that's like the Queen's army. If it would have been $20, I probably would have hit the button 10 times because I think you could make cool vaults with that.
Yeah.
Have Batman fighting the aliens and stuff like that. But for 50, I was out.
It would be cool if they could make. So go for it, Rain.
Yeah, just wrong pricing.
Yeah, it would be cool if they could like dynamically change the price depending how the drop goes. I don't know if that would annoy the people that bought it at a higher price, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
I've always learned that lesson.
It's $120, is it? Oh no, there's 120 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a significant amount that VeVe holds back. Like 30 of the SRs. That's pretty wild. Like honestly. Wow.
What
20%. 20% of the SRs they're holding back. I hope that they take a look at that. I just don't understand why they're holding back that many of like a low mint like that. Yeah, not a fan.
Vladimir, we've got Patient Hodler, we've got a question for you from Vladimir here. Bullish or bearish?
Okay. Let me try to answer that in a in a very short way. So I would say I would lean more to the bullish side on OMI, just because there's not so much more room for the bearish side, and also because if they execute on the factors that I discussed many times on channel, many times with you guys here, then there should be good things coming for the token. I hope that they can execute this and that there's nothing more standing in the way for some exchange listings into 2025. So yeah, either way, I'd lean more to the bullish side, which is why I still have my OMI.
Awesome. Yeah, I think was OMI up 10% today, and yesterday Foster put a video up of a campfire. I don't know what that's about, but some people are saying something to do with burns. I don't know. Too much speculation.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go for it. I'll follow up.
No, I was just saying that the deflationary aspect, even though that you need more than just deflationary, you can make an absolute shitcoin deflationary and probably isn't going to move that much. But the deflationary aspect that has been promised since the beginning, if it's coming, I think it would be a signal for the people that are in long term. Okay, now things are really rolling, and on the other side, it would catch some attention, I think.
You guys have seen BitForex. Looks like it's coming back, so that's going to be really interesting. Whether people are going to like Rain, I know you got like 30 million OMI on BitForex.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll
cross our fingers, right? Hope we get that back. When exchanges go down like that, it is historically, I've been into this since 2017. You often do not get your funds back, and they often find a way to screw you. Like imagine you had all these funds tied up on FTX, and what they're doing is the value of the crypto is a lot higher. They're not giving you your crypto back. They're selling the crypto at a much higher value and then giving you the US dollar version. So that's usually what happens in a good scenario, which isn't a good scenario for those people. You just rather have the crypto back. Would be awesome if this came together, opened up, and you could totally just withdraw the tokens you had on there. That would be best scenario.
I was wondering, Rain, maybe you direct question from me to you. 22 billion OMI in the vaults of Bitforex, and if they are, we don't know if they will ever like continue to operate, if they will have an allowance, if there's still substance to it. So what do you think, or maybe the others, what do you think is going to happen to this 22 billion OMI? Will they try to liquidate part of that? I mean, you probably will not be able to sell 22 billion at one point, but will they try to sell it off if they go belly up?
Them, maybe, right? So like when you actually are able to go in and pull off your OMI, then, and you pull it off and you see it confirmed, then believe it. Until then, just realize you might be being told a story. So could they still go in and sell that? Yeah, we only know the story they're telling us. And maybe the story they're telling us, that Bitforex is telling us, is true and correct. And sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. So they're telling us a story. Hopefully the story they're telling us is the actual story, and then it will open up and we'll be able to withdraw it. Until then I'll believe it. I've just seen historically it really doesn't usually go that well. And, you know, like they say, not your keys, not your crypto. In crypto, though, we end up taking risks all the time. And some people are like, Rain, why did you have some on, you know, exchange? How dumb is that? And it's like, well, you're always mitigating risks. And say you balance tokens between a whole bunch of wallets. Well, if one of those wallets gets compromised, you'll lose that too. And so you're always balancing different risks. And so sometimes risks go poorly for you. For those that have had a wallet compromised, you know that that's a risk that can go poorly for you. If you've had money on exchange and it goes down, also another risk, right?
We had Big A has a question for you, Rain. Or have you done any TA lately on OMI? Yeah,
we can pull it up. Let me share. I've got OMI right here. I'd say it's still likely that it breaks to the downside from here. I'm very bullish on OMI long term. In the short term, it could be bearish. Like I think the prices are exceptional where things are at right now. But if you saw the video with Paul, who does price analysis, he brought this out, that this is a consolidation pattern. And when this is happening, when things are going to the upside, it usually consolidates and goes further to the upside. But you see the consolidation pattern is happening on the downside, which often means like 2/3 of the time it will break further to the downside. And if it does, it will probably go into the 0.0003 range. Now, will it? I don't know. Those are just what the probabilities are, but things don't always play out what the probabilities are. So if so, perhaps once in a lifetime opportunity to get OMI even cheaper than we ever could have believed is possible. Cool. I think the future for OMI is extremely bullish. Sometimes like the market doesn't realize what the hell is going on, which is why sometimes you get 100Xs and 500Xs and 1000Xs in crypto. Like, why would that ever be possible? Well, because, you know, people buy green candles and they get panicky on something, especially something that's gone down for 3 years. And they just assume that because it has been going down for 3 years, that it's only going to go down. And that's just an incorrect assumption.
So can I jump in a couple of things, like with Foster's tweet and the speculation around it? I mean, I feel like Foster, he does these cryptic tweets, right? And my speculation is that we are close to OMI to NFT, and then that OMI to NFT function is going to have that burn mechanism. That's why I'm saying it's heating up there. You know, so whether that, I mean, it sounds like from what Sanjay said when he dropped some alpha last week, right, is that like there's going to be some beta testing opening up here. He's seen something about that. So I would imagine that it's coming here pretty soon within the next week or two. And maybe they got San Diego Comic-Con and they'll be focusing on that. And maybe they'll release that news during San Diego Comic-Con, right? But I think that overall will be very bullish sentiment, just knowing that burn mechanism is back. Because that was one of the things that got people really excited, right? Is the buybacks, the share buybacks, or the token repurchasing that was going to then go back into token burns, and then they had to step away from that because of the SEC and the lack of regulatory clarity in the space. So to get that back, I think is going to be really just psychologically a pretty big hurdle for people to be like, okay, like that's finally over and we've got that back. And I think that can spur quite a bit of positive sentiment for people who are holding. And then you combine that with potentially whether it's additional exchanges or if there's a narrative, it's definitely going to help. But I don't think that just announcing OMI NFT is going to create much of a price pump. I mean, it might do a pump and then it might drop back a little bit higher than where it was before. But I don't think that we're going to see some crazy jump, right? So
I did have a question because didn't Definity say they can do buybacks? Rain?
What do you mean?
Definity, didn't they say they were still entertaining buybacks?
The token Definity, that's Rain's realm. I don't know about that.
Entertaining buybacks. Why would they be buying back?
No, they said that I thought that one of the things that I saw was that Definity had potential buybacks of the token also.
Drive is doing well, had offered a buyback. I don't know that they really delivered on that, but Definity, I haven't heard any talk of buybacks.
I was just curious. I thought I could be wrong.
Some people, some crypto projects are doing buybacks for sure. Some aren't worried about it. Yeah, I think it is a regulatory concern, right? But you know, if Trump gets in power and then he gets rid of the SEC, then we've got no issues at all. So we'll see. And they do need some regulation, right? But they can have a nice framework and doesn't have to go through the SEC.
Yeah, regulation should be like clarification guidelines. What we need is guidelines. That's really what we need. We don't need some 7 million page book on like, oh, these are all the regulations. No, it just needs some clarity and guidelines of what's okay and what's not okay. Market's been asking for that, wanting that. Too bad every one of us in crypto, we're just bad actors, right? According to Gary Gensler, we're just like money launderers or whatever else, like.
Yes,
stupid.
It's very hard for businesses to project in the future, like future business plans, when they don't even know what's okay and what's not okay. Like I hope people really understand how big of a deal that is, right? Like what they can and can't do and what they've seen, right? As projects are sitting there, maybe they're smaller projects and then they've seen some of these bigger projects and the SEC is like, oh, come in and talk to us. We have this open door. And then the projects come in and they talk to them and they're like, hey, this is what we're thinking of doing and stuff. And then they leave and then they get a Wells notice and then they're sued by the SEC, right? Like that's what's happening. And so you can't really run a Web3 business and not understand what you can or can't do. Because if you make this initiative, and that's what burned Ecomi, right? Is that they had these token buybacks. They had this all planned. That was in the white paper. And then all of a sudden the SEC started going after projects that had those type of repurchase programs. They said this is a security and started going after it. And they're like, what the heck? Like people have been doing this for forever. Now we have to pivot, right? And then you still have some projects that are still going ahead with it anyways. And they're just like, we'll see if the SEC comes after us. But like real projects, like any real business, the uncertainty, you can't put tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars towards something when you don't know if a year from now or 3 months from now, the SEC is going to come sue you for it. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And we have Big A here who says, I'm not sure exactly what he disagrees with Doc, but every OMI event has gotten a big pump of 70 to 100%. Then it sells back off. He speculates the same for OMI to NFT release. That'll be interesting.
You think 100% increase, huh? We'll see. Like, look, I won't be complaining if that happens, but I won't be buying if it does that pump. And I do think it'll come back down at a higher low than before is what I was saying. So like, but I would be shocked if we saw a 200%, I mean, 100% increase, which I guess, well, maybe it was that 0008, like around there, 0009. Okay. Yeah, maybe.
I actually believe OMI would still be above 000s if it wasn't for Bit4X going down. If you guys remember early in the year, OMI was just starting to really pump hard and was trending all over X, and OMI price was in 0012, 0011. It was doing really well, and then Bit4X news happened like the next night after that big pump up, and that totally just destroyed the momentum OMI had. So who knows? By now we could have been 002. We just don't know.
What we're really looking for is when new people with new money are coming in and buying Omi. Like that's when it's really going to go crazy, because a lot of people are excited about, oh, Omi to NFT. I think that'll just lead to a short-term pump. The bigger pump comes when the narrative focuses on digital collectibles, and that probably happens after Bitcoin breaks some new highs and you have new people with new money coming in, and then they're looking for fundamentally strong projects. And then they see this project that has Marvels, they have digital versions of Marvel's comics, and they have all these augmented reality NFTs, and they're like, holy cow, this is such a big deal. Oh my gosh. Oh, look how cheap the token is. It's way down here. And then they start throwing massive money in, and then it really starts to climb. And then people chase green candles. So once it starts going berserk, then it really goes berserk, because people come in and start throwing money at what's already pumping.
For sure, for sure. Patient Hodler, do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I completely agree with that. And I think that due to the fact that Omi is tied to NFTs and Metaverse, which is really completely out of the narrative at the moment, there is good reason that it's lagging behind all other tokens from a performance perspective. I mean, if you look at most projects at the moment that are either in the top 50 or are in the narrative, you already see a higher high and higher low trajectory where there is some signs of life. And I think Omi is still trying to find the bottom, with, in my perspective, coincides more with this altcoins lagging behind of Bitcoin, and then NFTs lagging behind altcoins. So yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. I just want to see execution. I have no problem with the token creeping around at the floor. So yeah.
And Will, I'd like to get your perspective too, because you're probably more on the VeVe side than majority of us here.
I gotta see how it actually rolls out. I think the initial pump, if it happens to a coin, will be offset by the collectibles going down, because people will just use it to exit the market. Because without paying the 10% cash out fee, they'll accept Omi. I'm very curious how the actual, because I know what they said it was going to be, but I'm curious what it actually is when it's released. So.
And Will, did you catch Sanjay last week on Around the EcomiVerse?
I did not.
He was saying that he was testing it. So that's pretty.
I mean, but back in December, we were testing the VeVeVerse, so.
That's true.
I'm not trying to be like that, but I'm just saying, I mean, according to the CEO, we were going to have more people in, and I've yet to get an invitation. So.
That's true. I want in on the VeVeVerse, but who knows? Maybe they're holding off because of a big brand. But we'll have to wait and see. And so, Rain and Doc, you guys are going to San Diego Comic-Con. What's the date on that one?
Thursday is when it officially starts.
Thursday through Sunday.
Oh, cool. So it's this week. That's very exciting. And when's the Bitcoin conference? Because that's around the same time, right?
Isn't it also happening this week?
In Nashville?
Yeah, I think it's in 4 or 5 days or something like that. Yeah.
It's 25th through the 27th.
Wow, there's a lot happening this whole next week, and the ETF for Ethereum as well. That's this week as well, right?
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is a crazy week. Something's going to happen. And we've had Joe Biden missing in action, and all the stuff with Trump, and Trump's talking a bit at the Bitcoin conference as well. So
be interesting. Watching Elon Musk, I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk is secretly going to speak there too, right? He just updated his to laser eyes on his Twitter account, which I don't know if those are like XRP laser eyes, because they're not the red Bitcoin laser eyes. So it would be interesting if he came and spoke at the Bitcoin conference.
Wait, say that again. Whose laser eyes weren't Bitcoin laser eyes?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. He changed his profile picture to
I
laser
thought that
eyes.
was Bitcoin laser eyes.
Nah, he had blue laser eyes, which is like the crypto laser eye. The laser eyes are a crypto thing, but Bitcoin laser eyes are always like red.
Red, yeah.
And he had them blue.
Patient Hodler, you've got some explaining to do.
So first of all, maybe blue eyes means Ethereum. I don't know, but yeah, can we get PH to explain to his audience why Germany dumped Bitcoin? So I don't speak for the German government, okay? It's just because
Why not? Why not?
You're representing, man. You're representing.
But no, but I can maybe add something, because across Twitter, you see everywhere like, oh, look at how stupid Germany was. Like now they regret it because they're 500 million and so on. The fact is that we have 16 states here in Germany, and one of these states is Saxony. And that state, that they got, like, they raided the homes of like the there was a site that was called Movie 4K or Movie 2K or something like that, and they provided already years ago illegal like streaming of movies, and all the funds that they made, they put it into Bitcoin and bought thousands of Bitcoin. So the state of Saxony, the police, like every state has their own police organization, their own parliaments and so on. They are organized in a federation, and there's federal police above it. But in that case, it was the police of Saxony. And so they confiscated that, but the law says if it's not an illegal product, like a firearm that's illegal or something like that, or like a kilo of cocaine, then they have to liquidate at some point what they seized. Like if it's a house, a car, or whatever, they have to liquidate. So they seized the 50,000 Bitcoin, and they were legally obliged to liquidate that. So
But they could have sold OTC, right? They didn't have to dump everything.
Yeah, exactly. So the way this was made was completely amateur. Like, and they even put out a press release afterwards saying that they sold it in a market-friendly way, which like they dumped it into the market, like on market order on an exchange instead of doing it OTC. So they said, yes, we did it in a market-friendly way. I mean, if you wanted to have German citizens or citizens worldwide to buy the dip, yeah, then that was market-friendly, for sure. Yeah. But that's more or less the story. On another note, you could say the correct reaction would be that the federal government comes out and at the same time buys Bitcoin as a strategic reserve for Germany, right? To not like to counter.
They did buy some, didn't they? I think Germany did also buy some Bitcoin around the same time they were that state was dumping.
Yeah, like most of it got absorbed by the ETFs because they saw the opportunity. But then also the most funny thing that I saw was that wallet went to zero, and then it ticked up again because people sent $1 or $2 donations to that wallet, like of Bitcoin. Yeah. But that was it. Yeah, that's the reason.
Ah, cool. So I just dying over here. I'm good. Alrighty. Rain, do you want to talk about the overall crypto market? What's your thoughts in the next few months?
Probably it's going to go up from here, but it's hard to tell like how it's going to play out. So going back to the beginning of Bitcoin, really it had its first bull run a year after the Bitcoin halving, the first Bitcoin halving being 2012. So 2013, Bitcoin absolutely went crazy 1 year later. Then again in 2016 was the next Bitcoin halving. And in December of 2021, Bitcoin went absolutely crazy. And it had been creeping up from the lows of like, I think $400. And it went like up to 3,000, then 4,000, then 6,000, and then peaked out at 20,000 before coming back down. 2020, you saw another Bitcoin halving. And a year later, in early 2021, so March, Bitcoin went all the way to 65,000. And then it pulled back, bottoming out in July. And then later with the metaverse run, when Facebook changed their name to Meta, then crypto took off again and Bitcoin went to 70,000 before coming back down. So it was an interesting double peak cycle. So how is it going to play out exactly this year? I'm not quite sure. So Bitcoin has been getting a lot of traction earlier than normal. And some of that is Bitcoin's ETF being approved. So you have huge amounts of money able to go into Bitcoin that couldn't move into Bitcoin before. And there's also some accounting changes. Maybe Dr. Stuff can talk about that, which will allow these businesses and corporations to more easily hold Bitcoin on their books. So things are lining up for major money to be able to buy Bitcoin and crypto. And what happens is people do chase green candles in life in general. So they really kind of aren't paying attention to crypto too much. We had a little wave of new people coming in when Bitcoin broke 60,000 and they're like, oh crap. So we had a tiny wave. That bigger wave comes later as Bitcoin breaks psychological barriers like 100,000. And that's when a lot of people wake up and they're like, I must not be understanding what Bitcoin is because it hit prices I don't understand. So then they start researching and they realize that this whole avenue of cryptocurrency is allowing the internet to do things it couldn't do before. And they kind of wake up from this trance and they're like, oh crap. And then they FOMO in. I mean, the price to buy Bitcoin isn't after it hits 100 or 150,000. It was when it was cheap at like 20,000 or 14,000. But that's not how people behave. They tend to chase what's already running. They end up usually buying late, and they usually get wrecked because then they hold on too long. But that's how the cycle goes. That allows people that counter trade that to do quite well. People that buy things when they're being over FOMO'd and it's never going to survive and it's never going to do well, and then later sell it when things come in. So many altcoins are still historically really cheap because mostly Bitcoin and just a few narratives have been running. But then what happens is people come in mostly because of Bitcoin, but maybe one of these other narratives. And then the money starts to cascade into the different narratives in the crypto space. And as these different narratives hit, then those projects balloon like crazy. So I do think one of the narratives that will hit will be digital collectibles. And when it does, VeVe is the most well-positioned project in that space. And everyone wakes up like, oh, this VeVe thing. Oh my gosh, you got Batman and you got digital version of the comics. And oh my gosh. And that is not time to be buying more. That is time to then start selling some off when everyone's going crazy and you're hearing everyone talk about it. When you go to a school board meeting and you hear all the parents talking about their kids buying these VeVe collectibles, that is not buy time. That's usually take profit time.
Awesome. Well said. Well said, Crypto Rain. I've got a really good comment here by the Arcturus. Omi to NFT will be great as it finally permanently marries Omi to VeVe, basically. In an obvious way, great for new users to see and discover and get excited about Omi and getting the word out. So I think that's very, very good as well. I think that's what a lot of people are waiting for, is seeing Omi inside the VeVe app in a very obvious way. And that'll definitely help draw eyes to Omi. Omicron, yo, what's up? And I think, Doc, you're having a conversation in the chat there.
Yeah, no, I just posted some things, right? Because I think that sometimes, and I see this a lot, this narrative, right? I was just like, oh, they say that Omi 2024, Omi is this big narrative, and yet like we haven't seen anything. And I was like, well, actually, like they have done quite a bit of stuff, right? So I just said they delivered OUP phase 0, right, with where they gave us points. They've delivered OUP phase 1 with points and a minimum airdrop. We got the Ecomi SR, or anyone who held any amount of OMI in the app, they got that airdrop as well. Internationally, you have more accessibility of OMI. There are more exchanges. And in fact, OKX, right, is one of the largest exchanges by volume, like out there. It's just not accessible to US people. And so what they do with that, then they brought it on base and brought OMI over to base so that US customers could purchase the OMI token at a lot cheaper price too, right? So you have increased accessibility there. And we've just heard now from Sanjay just a week ago that he's done some sort of beta testing with OMI the NFT. So like that narrative that like they haven't done anything, it's 2024 and it's this main focus and they have had no movement. Like I completely reject that notion. Like it's false right now. What happens though is people have this narrative of what they expect, what that's supposed to mean to them. And until it meets that threshold, then they haven't met it and it's a failure. But like if you look at what they've done, they've actually done quite a bit in 2024. And I do expect OMI the NFT here. And I do believe that we would have US exchanges if the SEC was a freaking ridiculous regulator right now, just doing like, honestly, I mean, that's why we have this whole Chevron deference decision, right? Is you get a road regulator like that basically just interprets the laws the way they want, but does it in a political way, and then the courts have to step in and be like, all right, well, we've got to shut this down, and now we're going to make the determinations here. So that's a big win for crypto in the short term. I think long term, it's a crazy mess, that whole decision. But anyways, back where I'm going with that is that I do believe that we would have Coinbase only on Coinbase. There wasn't a concern that the SEC would label OMI as security, like it's labeled all of these other token securities. And they just don't want to deal with that right now. But they've got it on all these other exchanges. And so, I mean, I just get a little bit worked up in that. I hate when people talk in absolutes, right? Where it's just like they've done nothing. And it's like, well, that's not the case. They've done quite a bit here. You might not like what they've done. Okay, like that's your opinion. But at the end of the day, someone objectively can take a step back and look at these things and say, okay, they've actually done quite a bit in 2024. I would still love OMI to NFT, and I think that that's also coming in 2024. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that they have. Sorry, the kids are really noisy. I think they have done a lot for OMI overall, but I think maybe what also doesn't help is that the price is down on the year. And a lot of people just look at price, right? If OMI had doubled this year and it was at 100% up, I think maybe we wouldn't get so many of these questions and these comments. I think because the price is down, then people get upset and they say nothing's happened to OMI because the price is down. But if the price is pumping, it wouldn't be the case.
Right.
And so we do need some US exchanges for sure. And OMI is my worst performing asset. I'll definitely admit that right now for this year. My worst performing.
To date.
Yeah. But it did really well last run at some point, and hopefully it does the same this time. And what was crazy is last run, OMI kept running while Bitcoin was going down. Not sure if all of you guys remember that, but every single week, Bitcoin was going down, OMI was going up. So there's like this big divergence. And so if that happens again, it's actually a really good thing because you could potentially sell your OMI and buy a ton of Bitcoin. So I don't know if it will happen the same way, but it ran late last time and it just kept going. So, it definitely is a bit of a random token compared to others. It doesn't run with everything the same way. Maybe that'll be different when it's on more exchanges or, now it's on Base Network too, which sort of pairs it more with Ethereum. And before it was sort of more paired with USDT, which is, relatively stable. So it is a bit of a different, I could say, Dino, no excuse for not having a US exchange by now. I agree.
I got to jump in. Yep. This makes me, I'm sorry. I'm like, Dino, I know you're upset about OMI. You come on every single time and all you do is complain about OMI. You can be frustrated. I get that. But XRP was sued. Like, I mean, the amount of money XRP has spent in these lawsuits with the SEC is over $100 million. Stop it, man. Stop it. Okay, it's an absolutely good reason not to list on a U.S. exchange. They're not going to waste all of that money in case they get targeted. I don't like it. I don't like that it's not on a U.S. exchange, but that's the reality of it, man. That's the reality that any true project who is trying to think long-term about this is very hesitant to list on a U.S. exchange specifically for that reason. So it's absolutely a good reason. Stop it. Sorry, man. Stop it. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah, it's better to keep out of the SEC crosshairs because you can still win. And so what if you win? You then lost all those lawyer fees and all those resources could have gone other ways. So like Dr. Stuff said, like, I don't like where it's at, but I understand why they're making the decisions they are with that. And I would prefer them to continue making that decision till regulatory clarity in the US is there. And hopefully that's coming soon, right? Somebody was posting about Kamala Harris's likely VP pick being pro crypto. That would be nice. I think the Democrat Party has realized how important the crypto lobby is because I think their attention had only been given towards the banking lobby. And they're actually kind of ruining those decisions, I would guess. Although who would run the Kamala Harris administration? Probably the same people that are running the current administration. So would the VP pick suddenly turn them pro-crypto? I think the only thing that would turn the Democrats pro-crypto is actually realizing they're losing massive donations to the Republican Party and have to change some stances to not let that continue to happen.
And I just want to answer this question. We can, I believe we can move our Ethereum, sorry, our OMI over to base, right? You can move it from layer 1 to layer 2.
Yeah, you can bridge to base, but you
just
cannot
buy it
move in from base directly to the wallet. So you have to bridge the ERC, like on Ethereum to from layer 1 to 2 to the app. So you cannot go to base and then to the app. Not yet. Yeah. I think they will probably make the move to the like that everything happens on base, and I think probably smart, because everywhere that you're looking is basically Solana and base. This is what people are betting on, where the hype is. So that's probably smart. And then also cost of fraction is faster. That I think that was a pretty good move. And with regard, I just need to comment 2 other things. So we had the VeVeVerse before, and I see a lot of people on Twitter asking for the VeVeVerse. And it's like, man, really? Like, why? Why would you? Like, it's literally the worst time to launch your metaverse. No one cares. No one cares. You could launch one of the best metaverses ever, and no one would care. It's like even the ones that have probably a metaverse ready to go right now, with everything, like with the best graphics and the best content, they are holding back on that, and they're not launching it at the moment. So why would you have to? I mean, yes, you can do like another round of closed beta, but you are always increasing the chance that someone at some point breaches NDA and leaks it, and then your effect is going away. So I wouldn't focus on that. What I would focus on is, like, you have the OMI to NFT mechanic, as we mentioned, and there are so many things attached to this, like, because OMI to NFT probably also means that in the background, at least, even if you cannot see it yet, the burn mechanic has to be attached to that, and the fee mechanics in the app have to be attached to that, and then probably an accessibility inside of the app has to be attached to that, so that you can go into the app and somehow obtain OMI directly into your wallet. Because otherwise you cannot expect a retail user, like, I don't know, my aunt, go into the app, go on an exchange, buy OMI, bridge it over into the app to then use it. So either you will have a very short user base, or you need to have some kind of accessibility where you can buy it directly, like you can buy gems, that you can buy OMI as well. Will that then be locally disabled? Maybe for the US. I don't know if this will be a regulatory problem then also. Maybe it will be disabled for the US, but I think in Europe you can do that. You can offer that. Yeah. That's it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. We've got a lot of political talk here, and Trump would probably still be the best winner for crypto market. But Big A was basically saying that even if the other side wins, it would still be pretty good for crypto potentially. And Doc, I saw you replied basically saying that not necessarily, because they repealed the, what was it, the SAB 121?
Yeah. So and that basically would, like, the SEC, and I kind of talked about this in one of my videos, but the SEC basically put out, and they didn't do it properly. They're supposed to put out a notice of proposed rulemaking, which they didn't do for SAB 121. And long story short, it makes it nigh impossible for institutions to custody Bitcoin for their customers, right? And because the SEC didn't follow the proper pathway to do that, Congress and the House, right, like they voted to repeal that. Then it went up to Biden, and Biden vetoed that. Now, he could have done a couple things, right? He could have vetoed it and then been like, yo, SEC, get your stuff together, right? Like, because there are some risks with custodying of assets, and there is a way without using a sledgehammer, like more like a surgical knife, right? And take some parts out and be like, okay, like you got to do this, right? And it can make sense. But the way that they've written it, like you just can't custody assets, digital assets. And there's nothing like that on any other type of asset ever, like that institutions can custody, right? So it's specifically targeted against digital assets and crypto. And the fact that Biden vetoed that and didn't do anything to try to like lessen that, and Kamala's the vice president, I think just being attached to that. Then you've got Elizabeth Warren. You've got some major heads of the Democratic Party that are very I mean, she has an anti-crypto army is what, Elizabeth Warren called it. So I think if Kamala's in there, I think it's going to be more of the same from on the crypto perspective on how they handle that. Now, if like Big A said, somehow there's a VP pick that Kamala picks and they're pro crypto, maybe that could change. But yeah, right. Like, so yeah, it's not necessarily, it is a presidential veto, but if that's the party line, right at the top, that's the party line at the top. The president of that party is saying no to crypto. You got Elizabeth Warren, you got some others. It's a pretty big gamble, I would say,
I don't think anyone loves Elizabeth Warren. I don't even know if their mother loves Elizabeth Warren.
I didn't know
That's
that
probably
Kamala
because
and
my
Warren don't
intro.
like each other. I didn't know that, Big Guy. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was a Truck and Hank. For anyone listening that can't see this, Truck and Hank says PH loves Elizabeth Warren. What a troll! Oh, we love it.
So
No.
funny. A few banking lobbyists probably love Elizabeth Warren, but probably not many other people.
We got Jojo here says metaverse NFTs are not in this cycle. What do you think, Rayan? What do you think, guys?
I've heard that a lot. I haven't seen a good basis for that. Like a lot of people are saying that. That's usually a bullish sign. Like when general sentiment is like super bearish on something, that's probably a good time to be looking closer and see if the fundamentals are strong, because it feels like the things that really blow up, it feels like it's never going to happen for them. Like Axie Infinity, one of my investments, was a very fun, like when I bought at the opening of their land sale and I put about $4,100 into their land, and 2 years later that land was probably worth about $800. No. Did it feel like anything was going to happen there ever? No, it felt like nothing ever would happen there. And if I had put a general pullout on Twitter or something and said, is anything going to happen with Axie Infinity? And they're like, no, and blockchain gaming is not going to happen and blah, blah, blah. And then 6 months later, it's worth like, $400,000, at which point I sold. And then it went all the way to like $12 million after seeming like it wasn't even going to survive and it was dead and nothing was ever going to happen there. So like, I wouldn't tell people not to listen to their feelings. I just usually do the opposite of what my feelings are telling me to do. So when like Omi goes crazy at some point, because I still think the collectibles narrative is going to hit, and it'll hit really, really hard. And then you're feeling like you should refinance your house to buy Omi at 3 cents, yet don't do it. You miss the chance, right? Because like what goes up will go down, and what goes down, as long as the fundamentals are strong and it doesn't go out of business in the meantime, will often go crazy when the blow off top happens in the crypto run. People are like, oh, will this narrative ever hit again? Why is the digital collectibles narrative not going to hit? It's a major sector that wasn't available until blockchain and cryptographic encryption made it happen. Because before, like, how would you prove that like whatever image that you own was really actually the collectible? So crypto makes digital collectibles possible. And digital collectibles in many ways are superior to physical collectibles. Like physical collectibles are cool because you can actually touch it, you can set it on your shelf, you can put it on your desk at work, and you can look at it every day, which is really, really cool. And digital collectibles, you cannot do that. But try selling your physical collectible. Digital collectibles are way superior to physical collectibles in having access to a worldwide marketplace, being able to use them in the metaverse and in augmented reality. Digital collectibles are going to be a huge thing in the future, and VeVe is the #1 player in that space right now.
Absolutely, and I have to go to into that what you said and the comment of Jojo. We already saw what hit the cycle, dip in AI RWA. It's funny because last cycle started off with DeFi, and no one talked about metaverse or NFT or so in the beginning as well. It was like the Uniswap and whatnot. And I think in the last cycle, one of the early movers was Chainlink, really early. And so that was completely different on how it went on the absolute peak and into the end of the run. So there are various narratives that get cycled through in that time. So you cannot say right now, just because AI and gaming pumped, that is what is going to pump throughout the entire cycle and the rest will stay flat. That's probably not how it works out, because if you do 100x on one of these, you're probably seeking the next things that are flatlining at the moment to try another one. And there are so many ways how NFTs and metaverse can get their engagement. So if you're looking at it, like someone said here, RWAs, NFTs, somewhat at a similar, at least, use case, right? And then on the other side, gaming. Like what's gaming? You have gaming, then you have weapon skins, I don't know what. Probably these games will be like, okay, these are NFTs, right? And then you have the NFTs, and then from there you go to NFTs, to metaverse, whatever. So there are many ways to come to the same narrative.
Yeah, I think we'll have a big run on NFTs and metaverses. You brought up a good point. In June and July of 2020, early in the bull run, like DeFi really took off. And that's all anybody was talking about. And if you brought up metaverses, because Decentraland had been around for like 2 or 3 years in their token, and Sandbox was doing these endless land sales, and you could buy Sandbox land for like $300. People are like, oh, metaverse is never going to happen. Oh my gosh, did you go in? It sucks. Blah, blah, blah. It'll never happen. And then, the next year it had its own run specific to that narrative, that anything metaverse related went absolutely crazy. And those Sandbox lots that you could have picked up for anywhere between $80 to $300 went to like $13,000.
Sorry, guys, that'll be me. Let's see.
I know Doctor has to bounce, and I need to bounce as well.
Yep. Yeah, no worries. Well, we might make this a bit of a shorter stream, because I know Patient Hodler's sitting at like 1 a.m. now.
I'll bounce as well. So I'm the first.
And my kids are getting impatient, because when I'm streaming now, they've got to like run to the other room and like try not to be too noisy, which is impossible for kids. So it's good fun. Yeah, thanks so much everyone for coming. Doc, do you want to give the audience some parting words? I know you've been talking in the chat as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all, I applaud everyone that's still here, not just in Ecomi and VeVe, but in the crypto space, right? Like, I mean, things have started to trend upwards, but then there was another pullback there, and it's tough. Just mentally, it's tough to buy a token and see it go down, and then buy that token again, and then see it go down again. Man, the mental fortitude and intestinal fortitude you have to continue to do that and believe that it's going to turn. Like, it's so funny, guys. Like, some of my coworkers that know, like, I mean, I'm very heavily into crypto and things, and I get, they'll make these little jabs all the time, like, and teasing me about it, and I'm like, you guys just wait. You just wait. So I applaud you guys, right? And I personally believe that we'll be rewarded for that. Not all of our tokens, like nothing is guaranteed, right? It could all go to zero. I don't believe that. That's why I'm here. That's why I take time, which is one of the most limited resources that we have, right? It's very finite. It's very important. I spend this time with you guys, right? And you're spending it with us. I appreciate that. And I'm really excited about VeVe. I'm excited for San Diego Comic-Con. I'm excited for these partnerships. And the thing that we didn't really touch on, which I think is going to be, I'm very interested to see, is kind of these scavenger hunts that's going to be happening. Because what we're going to be seeing now is a lot more collaboration, where people are going to like, the Tokidoki booth, right? And then there's going to be a VeVe sign, and they're going to these different booths throughout the convention center. And there's going to be, what the heck is VeVe's popping up all over the place? They're growing, and I think that they're spanning. That's another way to do marketing, is through these collaborations, and they're building. And so just long term, I'm super stoked on Ecomi and VeVe. I really shout out to the team. I know that not everyone feels the same way, but I think that the team is building in the background, and I'm grateful for the hard work that they're putting in. I love these collaborations. I would love to see more regarding Omi, and I hope that the second half of this year, we really start to see that Omi to NFT and some more utility with the token, being able to do that. And I believe that that's going to be happening. So appreciate you all, fam. And Jordan, thanks always, right, for hosting around the EcomiVerse. And Will, it's good to see you, man. And give a shout out to Lori. I love her to death. I missed her on the last stream. And Patient Hodler, it's always good to see you, fam. And I need to keep up the chats with you on the personal chats and just keep in touch with you more. And Rain, I'll be seeing you soon, right, at San Diego Comic Con.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right, peace out, fam.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks,
See
dog.
everyone.
See you later.
No.
Whoa. Oh, we lost Patient. We're Rain at the same time. We're good. Let me fix this. Wow, that's a bit better. Yeah, so we may as well wrap it up soon because I know Patient Hodler, it's super late for you, and you got morning coffee. What time do you do that?
7 a.m. CET. That's in 6 hours. So
yeah, that's rough. That's rough. We better let you
no,
go.
it's 7:50 or so. So it's
Yeah,
almost 8
I
hours.
appreciate you coming on, man. And I saw a lot of comments saying like, make Patient Hodler a staple on here. But unfortunately, it's just too late, right, for you to come on every week. It's just too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that it's like too late for like every time. It's also that when I have to travel or so, it's usually difficult to get streams in, and that can happen on Mondays. But yeah, I'd be let's say it would be my pleasure to be a guest from time to time.
Yeah, awesome. No, we love having you on every now and then. You know,
Thanks, man.
if it was a better time, you could come on every week, whatever you like. I don't mind. And thanks, Will, as well, for coming on. I know it was sort of last second notice for you.
Yeah, that's like I said, I try to stay muted because I guess this setup's like hacked together because Lori's upstairs sleeping, so I didn't have the good setup for it. But
yeah, no, all good. Yeah, there's just a little bit of feedback when you're unmuted, and when
yeah,
one of us
that's why I
talks
just stayed
loudly.
muted, let you guys talk.
If we talk quietly,
I
it
did
was
want
all
to
right.
say one thing though, like there's two fears that people have, and that's the fear of being wrong. And the fact that we still have trolls in this means I feel good about where we are. Because the only thing more powerful than the fear of being wrong is the fear of missing out. And when those green candles come, the same people that are trolling are going to be the ones buying, and they'll be my exit liquidity. So
So you're saying thank you to the exit liquidity.
The truth. Yeah, it's true. It's true. PvP.
no, people are afraid to be wrong. And in life, you get nowhere like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I'm not convinced either way that we're 100% definitely going to have a big NFT run up, but I'm definitely positioned so if we are, I can take advantage of that, right? So
That's all you can do, Jordan.
And I think Omi is a long-term project, so maybe it doesn't do very well this run, but next run it's going to be everything will be in place for it by next run, right? It'll be absolutely ready to take off, and maybe we get like crazy numbers next cycle. Maybe this cycle just does a little bit of a run up, but even a small run up, right, from where it is now, it could do a 10x very easily. A 10x would be like 004, 005. That's pretty low for what it's been before, right? Just a quick 10x. So, I'm still very hopeful, and if you're really concerned, then maybe you should diversify, right? And that's what I've done. I've made myself comfortable. I know, Patient Hodler, you've always been a bit of a diverse portfolio type person. So,
yeah, sure. I can't limit the coins. That's the problem. So I should have less.
How many do you have now? How many tokens do you have?
I don't know, man. I have no idea, to be honest. I'm on 8 exchanges or so. I have coins here and there. It also has to do with like trying stuff out. But what I wanted to get at is, like, it may be so that there is a chance. There's nothing 100% guaranteed for NFTs. Like, if it was, NFTs would be at all-time highs, right? If it was guaranteed that there will be a run, it would be already happening. But you can see that if you're looking up NFTs, for example, you can on CoinMarketCap, you can look up the NFT segment and look at all the collections with the floor prices, market cap, and volume. There is still stuff going on, and we are literally at a Google search term #1 for NFTs. So no one is looking for that from new. So this is all people that are still here and that are trading Atsuki NFTs and Pudgy Penguins, like, are super big, and Bored Ape and Mutant Ape and I don't know what. And look at the floor price of Bored Apes. Like, it's not too much, but Ethereum is at 3,500 or so, and the floor is 12 Ethereum for the I think mutant apes or so, stuff like that. So if there weren't people that are playing around with this stuff or accumulating, that price would be way lower or even zero. But the fact that there is volume in it and prices are as high as they are, like, you have to imagine 12 Ethereum, that's higher than any collectible at the moment is on VeVe. And I'm not talking about floor, I'm talking about actual sales. So that's way higher than it's on VeVe. But on the other side, you have high price collectibles on VeVe that are selling, like Miles Morales Spider-Man, for example. So I think they're all still there. It's just that it's on life support, but it's not dead, you know.
Yeah, and look, if I still think VeVe is the premium NFT place, right? Or digital collectible, whatever you want to call it. There's not really anything as high quality and as put together a project as VeVe. So if NFTs do come back as a big narrative or digital collectibles, you know, VeVe is right there. And especially if Omi is fully connected to it by then, you know, we're going to see a big run if that's the case. So it's only time will tell. I actually hope it does run late, because that means I can rotate some of my profits into VeVe and Omi and make a killing, right? And I don't mind if I do that and I have to hold for a few years. That doesn't bother me. I am a long-term hodler, similar to you, Patient Hodler. And I know, Will, you've been holding for a long time as well. So yeah, thanks very much for coming on, guys. We'll wrap it up now, and we'll do a little bit of a dance out. You guys ready? You guys down for a dance out?
Sure.
Patient Hodler, I don't know if you've done the dance
I
out
don't know
yet.
what that means.
Well, I'll chuck the music on. We just do a little bit of a dance. It's an Omi based like outro track. Here we go.
What they say, it's the rise of the digital G. Omi token got the market bound, can't you see? Which crypto, NFT, non-fungy fame on an Ecomi spree. I'm the buzz one, crypto in the blockchain, no mystery. Live, wow, can't ignore the stats. I'm repping on this, yet I chuckle cause I'm betting on this.
Thanks for listening, guys. Watching.
It's the rise of the digital kings. Value surging while my wallet sings. Ecomi, Omi, that's the play. NFTs jumping day to day. Look at the charts. The sky's the limit. I'm invested in it, and I'm gonna win it. Got that digital gold rush. It's the bomb, but remember, play a coin, make a wish. This is not financial advice. Thanks for tuning in.
See you guys.